Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful parable from a text called The Second Word. Now, it tells a pretty simple story, but it's designed to answer a massive question. What if the world you see isn't the real world, but a direct reflection of what you believe inside? Let's get into it.
So here's the central puzzle we're tackling. How is it possible that two people can be in the exact same place at the exact same time, and for one of them, it's a paradise, while for the other, it's a total prison? This isn't just a random thought experiment. It gets right to the heart of how we build our own reality.
And the way the source material unpacks this whole idea isn't with some complex theory, but with this simple and, honestly, pretty elegant story. It's an allegory about two travelers. They set out on the very same journey, but they end up in two completely different worlds.
All right, first up, let's meet our unfortunate traveler. The text describes him as being really self-absorbed, kind of wrapped up in his own world. And from the moment his journey starts, you see this inner turmoil just project itself outward, painting his entire world in these dark, desperate colors. His whole mindset immediately turns the landscape around him into something hostile. As the source says, he falls into a very bad country. And the key insight here is that the country isn't actually inherently bad. His perception makes it bad for him.
And look at how complete this negative view is. We're not just talking about a bad mood. For him, the entire world becomes a house of mourning. Every single person he meets is either a helpless victim or a potential enemy. And this worldview, it doesn't just stay out there, it boomerangs right back at him, creating this state of constant internal agony.
This phrase, house of mourning, that's the key to his whole experience. It's the lens he sees everything through. Every sound is a cry for help, every face looks like a threat, and every single event is just another tragedy.
So how does he deal with this horror show that he sees all around him? Well, the text tells us his only escape, his only way to get a break from the dread, is intoxication. Basically anything to just numb his senses and try to silence the agonizing reality his own mind has built.
Okay, now let's switch gears and meet the second character, the fortunate traveler. He walks the exact same path, but his starting point, which the text describes as right thinking and good morals, well, it sets him on a completely different path. So what's his first impression? He finds the country to be very beautiful. Remember, it's the same road, the same landscape, but his reaction is the total opposite. His inner state is already projecting beauty onto the world around him. And the contrast is just stunning. That house of mourning, for him, it's a place of celebration. Those helpless victims, now they're joyful people. The enemies, they're now friends. His reality isn't one of torment at all, but one of immense joy and this really deep, powerful connection to everything and everyone. And here's his key phrase, the complete opposite of the house of mourning. He sees the world as a gathering for remembrance by the merciful. It's a place with purpose, with gratitude, and with this feeling of communal joy.
So when you put them side by side like this, the difference is, well, it's absolute. Mourning versus celebration. Enemies versus friends. Torment versus peace. And here's the most important part of the story. The world outside didn't change one bit. The only thing that was different was the person looking at it.
So on the surface, it's a really compelling story, right? But the source makes it really clear this isn't just a tale about positive thinking. It's an allegory, a symbolic story that's designed to reveal a much deeper theological truth.
And that forces us to ask the real question here. If this journey is a metaphor for life, then who are these two travelers? What is the one fundamental difference that splits their entire reality in two?
And here it is. This is the key that unlocks the whole parable. The unfortunate traveler represents the unbeliever, someone who lives without acknowledging a higher power. And from that perspective, yeah, the world looks like chaos, people are just cosmic orphans facing oblivion, and death is just the end. But the fortunate traveler, he represents the believer. For him, this world is a training ground. Other people are fellow creations, and death isn't an end. It's more like a graduation, a joyful discharge from duty.
But the parable takes this idea even one step further. It offers us this one final, really powerful metaphor to explain the ultimate outcome of these two worldviews. It's not just about how you feel right now, it's about what you're becoming.
So the crucial point is this. According to the text, faith and unbelief are way more than just viewpoints. They're described as seeds. And each seed contains the entire blueprint, the full potential for a whole reality, not just in this life, but in the one to come.
The metaphor ends with these two really potent symbols. Faith is compared to the seed of a tuba tree, which is this legendary tree said to grow in paradise, and it contains the potential for eternal bliss. Unbelief, on the other hand, is the seed of the zakum tree, a bitter, thorny tree described in the Quran as growing in hell, and it carries the potential for spiritual torment.
So the ultimate takeaway from the second word is direct and really unmistakable. It argues that because our belief shapes our entire reality, both what's inside us and what we see outside, then true safety and security, real peace, can only be found within the framework of faith.
And that brings us right back to where we started. But now the question is turned back on us. This parable makes a powerful argument that the world we live in isn't some objective place we just happen to observe, but it's a reflection of what we hold inside. So the final question is a personal one. What kind of world is your belief creating for you, right now?